everybody, Sydney here. So today I'm going to be doing my January wrap-up. I honestly cannot believe that January is already over. It has gone by so fast. There are only 11 more months of 2014. So I'm actually kind of annoyed because yesterday I spent the entire day filming and I did a massive wrap-up video, not only of all of the books I read, but also all of the TV shows and the movies that I watched in January. But unfortunately, my editing software is being a little meh right now, and it, for some reason, is not letting me upload the videos that I made yesterday, and it is crashing whenever I try to do so. So, you might have to settle for just the books today, and hopefully I'll be able to fix the problem and figure out how to do this for February. But today, let's talk about all the books I read in January. So, the first 3 books I read were all on my ebook reader, and in total I read 4 books, so of course there'll be 1 physical book for me to show you. But the first book that I read was Revealed by PC Cast and Kristen Cast, which is the 11th book in the House of Night series. The House of Night series is about a girl named Zoe Redbird who gets marked as a vampire fledgling and has to go to a school called the House of Night to learn how to be a vampire and to make sure she doesn't die from the change. And of course the story has come so much farther from there, as it is, 11 books long, and will be 12 books. The final book is coming out this fall. But it is a very interesting story, and I do enjoy the series. However, this book was not as fun to read. I found that because I read it a year later than the rest of the books, I didn't quite understand a lot of things that were going on. I forgot a lot of the events that happened in the previous books, and I forgot a lot of the characters too and their own personal backstories. For example, at one time in the book, they mentioned this character named Jack, who has not been in the series for quite a while, and I completely forgot that he was a character and why he was there. So, for this series, I do recommend, if you do want to read it, that you wait till the 12th book comes out next year and just marathon it, because it is so much harder to read year after year after year, especially because the writing style gets kind of similar and unintriguing after a while. So overall, I have to rate this book a 3 out of 5. I did enjoy it, and I did enjoy the characters once I finally got back into the story, but in the moment, I was really confused as I was reading it. The second book that I read in January was The Shadow of Discotheques by Cassandra Clare and Joshua Lewis. If you don't know the Shadow World that Cassandra Clare created, it is a world where demons exist, and therefore there are these beings called Shadow Hunters who are half human and half angel and are out in the world, and their purpose is to kill off demons. There are also werewolves and witches and vampires and warlocks, and it is one of my favorite worlds to read her stories in. In this world, once you enter the Shadow World as a new character, what you have to do is you have to read the Shadow Hunters Codex. The Shadow Hunters Codex is basically their rule book, including all of the laws, all of the different demons that there are, what it means to be Shadow Hunter, different weapons, different fighting styles, all the different downworlders there are, and so much more. And what makes it really interesting is that Simon, Clary, and Jace, who are characters of the Mortal Instruments series, wrote notes in the margins, and they kind of have little conversations through that way. And it is really funny when you get to those bits. And it was cool to read it, especially because I'm so immersed in the Shadow World. However, I didn't quite enjoy it as much as I wish I did, but just because there's no plot line to it, and so I found it very hard to want to keep on reading it. But I did love to read it when I was going to sleep, because I felt like I was sitting in a room in the Institute, reading my own version of the Shadow Hunters Codex, and becoming a Shadow Hunter. So overall, I would have to rate this book 3 out of 5 as well, just because I did enjoy it, but I didn't love it. A nice read to immerse myself into the Shadow Hunter world. The third book that I read in January was Doctor Who Into the Nowhere by Jenny T. Colgan. If you don't know, I have a massive obsession with Doctor Who. I will link my Doctor Who Mania video up here. I love Doctor Who. I am completely obsessed with it. It has become my new love, and I've only been watching it for a little over a year now, which is a testament to how good the show is. The show itself is about a man named the Doctor, who is a Time Lord from the planet Gallifrey. He has 2 hearts, and he's able to travel in space and time. In his spaceship called the TARDIS, stands for Time and Relative Dimension in Space, and it is a bigger on the inside spaceship that looks like a police box on the outside. He travels around anywhere or anytime you want, and he picks up females that are called companions, and they go around and they save the world together. And honestly, it sounds worse than it actually is. I know people that I tell the show about if they're like me personality-wise and what they watch, they absolutely love it. But other people who aren't as so much like me kind of think it's really weird. And I promise you, if you think it's weird, it isn't. You should go try out the first few seasons because honestly, it is so much better than you think it is. And probably one of the favorite things about this TV show for me is that you don't have to be a wizard or a demigod or a shadow hunter or anything special to go on an adventure. You can just simply be human. So I don't recommend you read this book or this short story if you don't watch Doctor Who, because obviously they don't explain it. But if you do, the story is about Eleven and Clara and their adventures together. And they land on this planet that has no name and isn't on any map. And they kind of go exploring. And of course, the minute I heard of it, I needed to read it because Eleven and Clara, my main ship. I love them. I will go down with this ship.
But I will go down with this ship.
I love them so much. They are my OTP at the moment, and I love them. And so I picked up this story and was so intrigued with the beginning of it because not only was it in a world that I was so familiar with, but they mentioned characters that weren't previously mentioned in other Eleven and Clara episodes. And well, a great part of it was that I could actually understand and read what they were saying. Because I'm not British, a lot of the time when I watch Doctor Who, I don't necessarily get everything they're saying, and therefore have to go to Tumblr and look up all the GIFs to figure out what they were saying at the time and get all these little quips that they were telling each other. But now that I can read it, I understand every joke, and it was so much more fun to read. However, at the end, it got really confusing, and you have to interpret it for yourself. At the end, it's really a lot of what you think happened and what you know of from your previous experience. I did enjoy it. I have to rate it a 4 out of 5 stars because the ending kind of did confuse me a little bit. The last book I read in January was Cinder by Marissa Mayer, which I actually just finished today. Cinder is the first book in the Lunar Chronicle series, and it is a book about Cinder, a 16-year-old mechanic who lives in New Beijing, and lives with her 2 stepsisters and her stepmother. And if you aren't getting the reference yet, yes, it is a retelling of Cinderella in the future. And Cinder is a cyborg, and then one day she meets the wonderful Prince Kai, and they set off on a wonderful adventure. And you have no idea how intriguing this book completely brought me in immediately. I found it so hard to put it down. I was reading anytime I had the free time, at commercial breaks during TV shows, whenever I could. I was even not socializing with others to read it, which is kind of sad. But it came to the point where last night I couldn't sleep because I was just rambling over all the things that had happened in this book in my head. And it is so amazing. I really recommend you pick it up. It is so underrated. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The character work is amazing. The characters are so sarcastic and so funny, which I love. Their sarcastic humor is probably one of the best parts of this book. It was me laughing out loud at some points in the book. And their relationship too. What I love about it is that there's something different about it. I can't really describe it, but the way that they interact with each other is just so interesting, and I immediately found me shipping them. It's really hard. So I really recommend that you pick this up before the 3rd book in the series comes out in a couple of weeks. So now I should probably talk about the books I'm planning to read in February. So this year, my reading challenge goal is 35 books. So last year I read 17, so I'm trying to really get a lot done. And since I've already read 3 books and a short story, what I'm thinking is that I'm going to average around 3 books and a short story each month, and hopefully that will eventually get me to 35 books. I mean, 4 books times 12 is 48, so if everything works out the way it is planned, I should have everything done by October, November. I'm not good at math, so you can work it out yourself. So the first book that I plan to read is actually right in the back of Cinder, and it is a short story called Glitches. And it was written by Marissa Mayer. It actually used to be on her Wattpad account, but they put it in the special edition of Cinder. So this is actually the short story that I'll be planning to read in February. I've just started it, and it is already so intriguing. I love this world. I'm completely obsessed, and I love it. I love it. The second book I plan to read in February is Scarlet by Marissa Mayer, which is the 2nd book in the series. This one centrals now more on a Red Riding Hood character named Scarlet, and of course it will also feature Cinder. Going along that line, the 3rd book that I'll be planning to read in February is Cress, which is coming out on February, I don't know, on some sites it says February 4th, however, I know I pre-ordered mine and I'm getting mine on February 10th. So I'll probably start reading it around that time. So I have 10 days to finish Scarlet. I'm not worried. I finished Cinder in like 10. I should be good to finish Scarlet in 10. And I'm so excited to get the hardcover cover of Crest because, I mean, look how pretty this is. It's so detailed. There's like, it's like an etched copy. I mean, the red in the side. And there's a little like half moon and little like, it's nice. You probably can't see it from the camera, but I mean, I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Here, this is the little detailing that they put on the cover. But I'm absolutely so excited. I'm so immersed in this world, and I cannot believe that I haven't heard a lot about this in book 2 because it is so amazing. And the last book that I plan to read in February is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. You've heard me talk about this a bunch, about how I haven't read it yet, and I've already watched the trailer 10 times and have cried each time because I already know what goes on in the story. I have had spoilers both from Tumblr and from people I know, so I'm not gonna get the whole surprise element of this that I know is in the end, but I'm so excited to actually get to it, recognize some of the parts from the trailer in the book, and have finished before the film, so that I can watch the film and go in without worrying about being spoiled for the book, even though I am already spoiled, but whatever. So yes, those are all the books that I have read in January and are planning to read in February. It sucks because I had all this stuff planned to talk about TV shows and movies. I think I'll just quickly mention the movies, I guess, because I have a little bit of time at the end. But the movies I watched in January were Frozen, The Hobbit, and Christopher and His Kind, and they were all amazing. Frozen, just anybody, go and watch it. If you have not watched it yet, you are missing out on a kids movie that is flipping amazing. Hobbit, I've watched this like 3 times already. The Hobbit, the Desolation of Small People. Benedict Cumberbatch as a dragon. I mean, who doesn't want to watch that? And Christopher and His Kind is a movie that I wouldn't recommend to everybody. If you are not okay with gay content and some sexual content, I don't recommend you watch this, but it is a great lesson to learn, and Matt Smith is in it, and Matt Smith is my baby, as you probably just watched from the whole Doctor Who rant, so I'm quickly mention those just because, I mean, go watch them if you haven't. They're flipping amazing, and you'll understand if you have watched them why I love them. And yeah, the TV shows I have a little much to mention in one video, but I will hopefully have my whole thing planned for February, and hopefully it will work out, and please like and comment and subscribe, and I love you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!